We have only another 26 topics to cover.
We're not getting there, Robert. But what? Hold on. What were some of the really
Well, we can stay right in New York. It turns out that the Nxium cult trial, I think it's Raniere. Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know, but I do know that
someone was... Again, everybody knows I'm not a fan of them, not a fan of the group, not a fan of a lot of their activities. But it does appear, based on there's a motion for a new trial that's been filed, supported by a longtime law enforcement federal official and multiple other experts that have looked at it, that appears the core allegations against Raniere, that he was framed by the FBI, that he got so high profile politically, they didn't have a clean, easy criminal case against him, because what's the gap between persuasion and coercion, right? Where does that line get crossed? There was aspects of that case that were weak. So they created a case that said he had underage nude women photos on his phone and on his other devices. There was weird things about how those items were gathered. It turns out, kind of like the OJ case, which we will get into with the body language panel for a future sidebar.
One day, Robert. What are we going to celebrate when we finally do the OJ? We got to get Dirk
to figure that out. Maybe we'll get some glove sponsors. But we'll see.
Isotone. We could do it.
Yeah, we'll see. But the evidence disappeared from the lab for like 24 days. And then, like the OJ case, evidence gets discovered many months after the search is found. And the way it gets discovered, according to the expert, everything about this, multiple experts with pretty much impeccable pedigrees, are saying this had to have been planted evidence, which means the FBI framed Raniere because they needed him, because it was such a high-profile political. And again, it was either the Eastern District or the Southern District of New York. Anywhere in New York is unreliable judicial system, unreliable law enforcement system, unreliable prosecutors' offices. And that's what we found again. I mean, this looks like, again, I'm not a fan of this guy, not a fan of a lot of activities he was involved in, but it does look like the FBI framed him.
Well, and by the way, they could hypothetically frame a guilty man, as some believe they did with O.J. Simpson. Robert has a different view on this, which we'll discuss one day.
Well, those are also two different things. Whether the verdict was right, and whether an honest developed evidence and an honest verdict could have proven evidence in an alternative trial. But you can believe that he should have been acquitted and still believe that he may have been responsible. When we have that discussion, I'll discuss what I think happened. But that'll be pretty. But clearly, they framed him. The FBI framed him. I mean, it's another FBI corruption case, another high-profile case where FBI agents were completely corrupt, like they were in the Silk Road case, where a lot of those agents, including some IRS agents, ended up being. And again, where was that case? Southern District of New York.
No, it's like, and the thing is, I know I have an opinion in my head, which is totally baseless, just because I know what I think of cults and I know what I think of people doing things with underage people. They may have framed a guilty man. Now I also know what I think of the FBI, given what happened in the Whitmer case, and they might have framed guilty people. But if you have to frame a guilty person to get a conviction, you're doing it wrong. So it doesn't.
Kind of like the I'm going to get this dude's name
Rafikian.
wrong. Yes, thank God. I had no way to pronounce that name.
Well, in Nxium, whatever it is, he's made a motion for a new trial, has not yet been granted. Rafikian, it's Bihan Rafikian, who is Michael Flynn's corrupt, what was it? A FARA lying, foreign agent.
Another, because of the government's absurd interpretation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act.